everybody, this is Cannaday, and today we're taking a look at a scenario pack that's been out for a little while, but this is the Hood. I finally got a chance to play it, and I want to show you my thoughts, so here we go. All right, let's take a look and see what comes in the Hood scenario pack. You get the Hood villain, and then you also get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different encounter sets for like modular sets you can add into encounters. So he comes with a ton of variety you can add into a bunch of your different villains. Then he also comes with standard 2, which is new standard cards that can make the game a little bit more difficult, and expert 2, which if your expert game wasn't hard enough for you already, you can make that more difficult too as well. So let's take a closer look at all of this stuff. So I really don't like to go super in depth when I'm talking about the villains and minions and all of the modular sets and stuff like that, mostly because I don't want to spoil or give away too much of what's in the game, because I myself like to discover, but I try to give you a little bit of the flavor of what's going on here. So you have the Hood. So let's go ahead and look at his little main scheme here. One of the interesting things about him is that at the setup of the game, you choose 7 modular encounter sets, and you're going to set them aside, and then you randomly choose one of those encounter sets and shuffle it into the encounter deck. So he's going to have his Hood cards, and then you're going to have a modular set that you're going to shuffle in with his Hood cards. And the Hood here has 1 scheme and 1 attack, and he has his foul play special ability. Discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card does not belong to the Hood's encounter set, deal 1 to yourself as a face-down encounter card. So an interesting thing about the Hood here, and then of course when you beat that one, you add another modular set of the random 7 that were set aside at the beginning. There would be 6, of course, after you started the game, and you're going to shuffle that into the encounter deck. So the Hood has a lot of things that are going to be adding extra modular sets into the encounter deck as the game goes along. But then also whenever this foul play ability goes off, he's going to be adding extra encounter cards to your characters and basically making it harder and making these modular set cards come out faster in front of everybody. Also, when the main scheme kind of switches to the next one, you're going to reveal his ability, and the opposite side of this is also going to add another one of those modular sets into the encounter. And a lot of his stuff have to do with all these modular sets and stuff. Just him basically rallying a whole bunch of different goons and minions and all sorts of different people to help him out as he kind of gets them to work on his side and kind of wreck you in new different ways. That's kind of what the Hood is about. Let's look at some of these modular sets. So we have the Brothers Grimm. So they are Masters of Evil and Mystic. You know, a bunch of different cards here. Like if you want to look through kind of how everything looks for the most part, you can kind of pause the video if you want to see some different stuff. Corrosive Egg Bomb. And this guy has just all sorts of different psychic mystic stuff going on there, messing people up. Then we have Crossfire. So he's a quick strike guy here that can wreck people. And this is a bunch of the Crossfire crew. So a bunch of his crewmates here. It's just cool to see all these different modular sets in the game that can kind of mix up. You can add these into all sorts of other villains to kind of make that happen. Then we have Mr. Hyde. Like Mr. Hyde, I used to play him in HeroClix back in the day. So good stuff here. Turning into Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of thing going on here. And then we are getting sabotaged with the Beastie Boys here. Double Trouble. Griffin. Beast mode. Going straight into beast mode there. And then just all sorts of different stuff that's kind of going on here. We have like the Armored Guard here. We've seen stuff similar to this before, but lots of guarding and toughness going on with their stuff. Lots of cool equipment that are going to be going on to different minions and different heroes and villains and stuff like that. Not heroes, but villains, you know. Tech Gauntlet. Lots of cool stuff that you can add in to change up the flavor of your game. Then we have the Shocker here. This is the Sinister Syndicate. This is a really cool one, especially if you're going to be adding this sort of thing into Spider-Man or into Rhino to play like against Spider-Man. That seems like a lot of fun to have that sort of thing going against stuff here. Beetle and Boomerang and Crime Pays. Sinister Onslaught. Lots of cool cards, lots of flavor on everything here. And then I kind of always like these sets, these encounter sets that are just kind of like different stuff going on like in the neighborhoods and stuff like this. This is the Streets of Mayhem. There's just a bunch of different environment cards that can go into your deck or go into the deck and kind of they do a surge and they kind of do things and just kind of like affect the game state while they're in play. and it's going to discard each other environment that's in play. So I can add flavor to your villains that you're facing off against. And then we also have the state of emergency, which gives me a little bit of same feel, but a lot of treacheries and side schemes and stuff as everything's blowing up and getting destroyed in the city and disaster everywhere, citywide crisis, and offshore inferno, tons of different stuff here to mess up things. And then we do have a minion set that is the Wrecking Crew. So they have a whole scenario pack that's a Wrecking Crew. But if you want your Wrecking Crew to just be minions added into another villain, you have all of the Wrecking Crew here. So you can get all that Wrecking Crew flavor in a deck with a different villain. So that'd be kind of cool too. And then lastly here, this is probably one of my favorite things that comes in with this. This is a new set for Standard. So and this is Standard 2. So basically, every single time you play with a villain, you have to add in these standard cards that kind of do some basic stuff, like make the villain attack you more, or make him do a bunch of different stuff. There's like different tricks and things like that that the villain will do, and it's almost in every single deck. This is Standard 2, so they can kind of mix it up, and these I think are a little bit more difficult, definitely are a little bit more difficult as you're playing with them. So you have Total Annihilation. These also have more surge, it feels like. This makes the villain attack you. That attack gains overkill. That seems gruesome. And we have a couple of those. And then, of course, everybody hates Shadows of the Past. So what would a standard set be without Shadows of the Past? Then Overwhelming Force. And these are just a little bit more difficult as different things are coming out. Mob Mentality is going to discard the top 7 cards of the encounter deck, and the first minion discarded this way into play engaged with you. So a minion hops out and attacks you. Making him scheme, but not only does the villain scheme, he schemes with +1. So, rough. Dark Dealings there. And then this is a setup card for Standard 2, so when you're playing, this is kind of going to make it a little bit harder. There's a permanent setup. The villain gains Steady, which means that it requires 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. It's just making the villain harder in general to face off against. And then we have the Expert cards here. I normally play the game on Standard, not even normally on Standard 2, because that seems a little bit difficult, but if you want to add a little bit more difficulty, this is Expert 2. So if Expert wasn't hard enough for you, you can do Cruel Intentions here. We have Ruination. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my goodness. Get wrecked. Seek and Destroy. Nice Crossbones art there. And then Slug It Out. But yeah, you don't have to look at those too closely if you want to be surprised when that pops up in the deck. But that's basically what comes in the Hood Scenario Pack. Let's take a look at what I think. So the things I really enjoy about the Hood is the fact that it has so many of those modular sets, and like his whole thing is about having those modular sets off to the side and then adding them in as the game goes along. And as things happen, as you reveal more of those modular sets due to his foul play thing, you end up getting more of those cards in front of you, and they can end up messing you up and wrecking you. So the longer the game goes along, the more his foul play is going to mess you up even more and more. And just having more and more encounter cards out there means more minions are going to come out, more treacheries are going to come out, more environments are going to come out, lots of things that are going to wreck you as the game goes along. So you want to try to end it quick. I do like that the Hood is like influencing and gathering people and gathering minions to his side, which feels very thematic for the Hood in general. And I also really enjoy that this comes with new standard cards. I like the fact that you have those to mix in. Like, I played Rhino a million times, but now I'm playing Rhino with Standard 2, so it's like, okay, I've gotten really good at the game at this point. I can't play on regular Standard. Having that Standard 2 in there makes it just a little bit more interesting as you play along. It also makes certain things where, like, oh, you're confusing the bad guy too easily in solo mode, add that Standard 2 in there, and then now he has Steady, so you have to have 2 of those to be able to actually confuse him or to be able to stun him and things like that. So it can add a little bit more difficulty to the game without going all the way up to expert mode and making it too difficult for you maybe. But yeah, I really enjoyed this overall. Like, if this is a thing that like you're interested in, having a lot more modular sets to add into your villains. If you've played a bunch of villains a bunch of times, maybe you played with a specific modular set, this adds so many more. You can, I mean, even if you play the same villain over and over again, you could take turns just be like, Rhino with this one, Rhino with that one, Rhino with that one. And it would give you different feel and different flavor as you see different cards popping up. That's why I really don't like to like show this stuff off too much, because I like to be surprised as I draw the card and be like, oh, that's what this does. Dang it. It just makes it exciting and mixes up the game. So you're not seeing the same stuff over and over again. There's so much stuff out there for Marvel Champions. This I'm going to give an 8 to. I had a lot of fun with it. I think I enjoyed it a lot. It was pretty cool. But yeah, if you're interested in that, check out the hood. Anyway, I've been Roy Cannaday. Let me know what you're excited about as far as Marvel Champions goes. I know they just announced the next X-Men box with Cable and Domino, and you're going to have Juggernaut, and who else is in it? They also have Mr. Sinister that's coming up. Let me know who you're most excited to play amongst Cable and Domino, and which villains you're excited about facing off. I'm really excited to see the next X-Men stuff. It's going to be a little bit of a wait for this stuff, but it'll be interesting to see how things go. But there's so much Marvel Champions we can play with currently. Make sure to check all that stuff out if you enjoy the game like I do. But yeah, this has been my hood review, and I'm Roy Cannaday, and I'll see you on the next one.